This is Entertainment for Review, and I'm moving forward with yet another episode of The Big Bang Theory. This time we're going to be taking a look at Season 3, Episode 13, The Bozeman Reaction. And the episode gets this title because Sheldon decides to move to Bozeman, Montana after their apartment is robbed. And that's the general theme of this entire episode. This episode really only has one focus. The episode starts off with Leonard, Sheldon, Raj, and Howard in a Chinese restaurant, and Sheldon is disturbed by the changes they've made to their menu. So ultimately, they decide to go get a pizza instead. When Leonard and Sheldon return back to their apartment, they see that the door's been broken open, and that their apartment has been robbed. Their TV and several other electronics are missing, and Sheldon panics, thinking that something else important to him might be gone.
God! It's all right. They didn't take my comic books.
But fortunately for him, his comic books were safe, which could be surprising because comic books can be quite collectible and quite valuable. But your average thief might not know this, and they're not a quick turnaround item. Police come and take their statement, but Sheldon is unsatisfied with their investigation. And it is immediately clear that Sheldon is very distressed by what has happened. He's unable to sleep and gets up and makes sure his door is locked and then proceeds to barricade it, only to realize he has to use the bathroom. As his worry continues to grow, he wanders his way over to Penny's apartment where Leonard and Penny are. He tries to keep casual at first, but it's pretty clear right away that he's scared and doesn't want to be alone and asks if he can come in, and explains it away by saying that he's evolutionally driven to a social group for safety in numbers. He keeps them up late into the night, and they even begin playing Pictionary, until Leonard and Penny can't do it anymore and say they need to go to bed. Sheldon volunteers to take first watch, and will come wake them up at 4 a.m., which Penny points out is only about 15 minutes away. However, immediately upon sitting on the couch, Sheldon decides to put on a scary movie on his phone, and causes himself to have another panic, and goes and knocks on Leonard and Penny's bedroom door again. This leads to the next day, where they've recruited Howard to install a high-tech security system, including reinforced deadbolts, biometric security, motion detectors inside with cameras that have face detection software. Find out that Howard got all this from his friend who works in the government. He just failed to tell his friend he was taking it ahead of time. None of it seems to satisfy Sheldon. There's even a giant net that drops from the ceiling that Penny accidentally triggers when she walks in. And Sheldon's not impressed until Howard tells him that the net will be electrified later. Later that night, when Sheldon's in his room, he is still very scared, and when he hears a noise from somewhere in the apartment, he freaks out again, and he crawls out his window onto the ledge and crawls over to Leonard's bedroom, where Leonard and Penny were. Leonard lets Sheldon in, and he says he heard a noise, and they said that they had knocked a lamp over accidentally, and it's better off not speaking of why. Sheldon exits the room, he says he's going to look around the apartment, and we hear him scream moments later, and we see that he has fallen victim to the net, which Howard has now electrified. Now all this has gotten Sheldon to the point where he's fed up and he's decided he needs to leave Pasadena. He's looking for a safe city with a low crime rate that also fits a lot of his other needs, such as high-speed internet and a model train store. Leonard reveals that he's going to be able to telework, so he'll be able to keep working at the same university. Sheldon ultimately settles on Bozeman, Montana, and as he's leaving, he doesn't want to have an emotional goodbye, so he plays a video that he prepared, in which he refers to them all as 3 good friends and 1 treasured acquaintance. He then seemingly quietly slips out until he pops back in to tell them that they should lock the door. We then see Sheldon arrive in Bozeman, Montana, and he's a little bit shocked by the cold, and then immediately after he arrives, he's robbed.
Chamber of Commerce. Wait! Wait! Excuse me!
And who is posing as someone trying to help him with his bags runs off with them, showing Sheldon that crime is everywhere. And so he immediately purchases a bus ticket back to Pasadena. When he arrives back at the apartment, Howard is the first one to greet him, and he notes that it's odd that the acquaintance was the first one to greet him. And Raj seems pretty happy that he wasn't the acquaintance. And that's how we end this episode. This is a fun, easygoing episode of the show that doesn't do much to advance further long-going storylines. It's just an independent one-off episode. But it is a fun one at that. I think one key takeaway is that we see Sheldon's need for other people, even though he doesn't want to admit it at times. This is all in all a very good episode, and I would score it at about an 8.2 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on Season 3, Episode 13, The Bozeman Reaction, in the comment section below, and please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for my next video coming soon.